This is the Energy Makers Show, featuring the innovators, financiers, and policymakers focused on the global energy demand. Brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And here's your host, Paul Dickerson.
Hi, I'm Paul Dickerson, and welcome to another episode of the Energy Makers Show. First up today, Laura Spanjian, Director of Sustainability for the City of Houston, a true expert in sustainability, moving her practice where she worked with the City of San Francisco here to Houston to join Mayor Annise Parker's team. Next up, Russ Capper checks in from the SURGE Accelerator, where he visits with Sarah Groen, co-founder of SURGE, and Class 2 participant Lewis Wight, co-founder of Meshify, the connected device app engine. All that right after this.
Where will the energy come from to move us forward? From natural sources in abundant supply, or perhaps a man-made source? At NRG, we believe innovation will solve our energy needs. That's why NRG is moving away from fossil fuels towards wind, solar, and other sustainable technologies to power the smart grid, the electric car, and our clean energy future. We're using all of our energy to develop more of it.
This is the Energy Makers Show, brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And now, back to the Energy Makers Show with your host, Paul Dickerson.
Welcome back to the Energy Makers Show. Our guest now, Laura Spanjian, Sustainability Director for the City of Houston. Laura, great to have you on the program.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So, Houston, fourth largest city. How are we doing?
We're doing fantastic, actually. I know you had Mayor Parker on the show about a year ago, and in that last year, I think the word that people use to describe Houston right now is boom. We're hitting like every top 10 list in the country, whether it's like best economy or, stretching your paycheck the furthest is in Houston. Starting a new career, people say Houston's the #1 city to do that. Even in the New York Times, they put us as the #1 city in the United States to visit in 2013. So there's just so many good things happening here. Locally, we are, our small businesses are growing. We literally gave $139 million in city work to Houston firms right here locally, thanks to our Houston First program. So there's just a ton going on the economic development side, creating jobs and spurring the economy. And I really think Mayor Parker and her leadership has a lot to do with that.
Well, absolutely. And your role as Sustainability Director, Houston, as the fossil fuel capital of the world, oftentimes doesn't have a reputation as being the most clean or green.
Right.
How are things on that side?
Oh, actually, we're doing amazing. I mean, I do get that all the time. A little bit less so lately.
Sure.
I'm happy to say that people are actually starting to realize, wow, Houston is also booming when it comes to green technology or the green economy. Just literally last week, we won a very prestigious award from Bloomberg Philanthropies. They issued a challenge to every city in America to come up with an innovative idea to make government and make citizens' lives better. And we were one of 5 cities that won over $1 million out of 305 cities who applied. And our idea is, Mayor Parker chose a sustainability idea, which is to help people recycle every single thing in their trash, not just traditional recyclables like plastic and glass, everything. We can use new technology now to be able to treat every single discarded material as an asset.
How does that work?
New technology in a facility that can sort everything from food waste to your aluminum can and turn it into commodities that have value. So we're incorporating new technologies and some old technologies in a new way, and we're going to be able to have diversion rates hopefully as high as 75%.
Setting an example for all sorts of cities around the nation.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, we literally met with there was a glass recycler who has lots of facilities throughout the nation, but he doesn't have one here. And he said that if we make this work, he is going to build a glass recycling facility right here in Houston and create 75 jobs. That's exactly the type of thing that we are hoping to have spurred by this innovation. But that's just one area that we're doing a lot in. When it comes to energy and green energy, Houston is going to purchase. Right now we have 33% of our energy comes from wind. From
33.
Yeah, wind farms in West Texas, because wind, we're the #1 state in wind by far to any other state in the country. We have 10,000 megawatts. It's amazing. We are going to increase that to 50%, and we will be the #1 municipal purchaser of renewable energy in the country, which is amazing. On the solar front, we're doing some creative things. We actually are looking at providing a benefit to City of Houston employees, where we would do a community benefit program where if we get enough city staff that want to put solar on their homes or their businesses, then the cost would drop for them because we're purchasing so many solar panels. So we're looking at offering that to our city employees. So we're really trying to look at all renewables that are out there, and not just focus on what Texas has traditionally been strong in, which is wind.
Well, and incredibly innovative. And you're not a native Houstonian. You've only been here, what, 3 years?
3 years in April, yeah.
And from San Francisco.
From San Francisco. I love San Francisco, but I really love Houston. Houston, the people are fantastic. I mean, I don't think I would have been able to do, half of what I've done in any other city. The people are embracing, innovation. They're embracing new ideas. They're embracing sustainability. I mean, look, Houston, without any mandates, we have the 5th most LEED certified buildings in the country right here in Houston.
Wow.
We have so many energy efficient buildings. Voters literally just last November passed a $100 million bond initiative to build hike and bike trails along 11 of our bayous. We're going to open up all our bayous finally, right?
Yeah,
we have this amazing resource that's
Sure.
been hidden for so many years. We're going to open them all up to all kinds of recreational activities and build hike and bike trails, over 100 miles of trails. And we're going to do it, in the next, 5 to 10 years. We're starting a bike share program literally next week. It launches with Mayor Parker. We're going to have 21 stations, over 200 bikes, all over about 4 different neighborhoods adjacent to downtown, and then we're gonna expand it even further and even more by the end of the year. So there's just a lot of momentum, a lot of good things happening in this space.
A completely different view, I think, from our friends on the coast. We have a lot of innovation coming out of Boston, a lot out of San Francisco and the Palo Alto area.
Yeah, Silicon Valley, yeah.
Sure, yeah. I think it'll be interesting for them to see how some of the technologies that they incubate on the coast are really being commercialized here in Texas.
Oh, you're totally right. I mean, there's in our recycling program, there's this very interesting innovation that's happened. It's a Houston-based company funded by Shell and the Department of Energy, right. And they're called CRI, and they are actually able to turn biomass. They've done it on a small scale. They're now looking to do it on a large scale. Turn biomass into gasoline or diesel, and this is not using it's not gasification or incineration. Yeah. It's using a non-thermal source to be able to do that. And that innovation is happening here. That's what's so fantastic. I think people are really starting to look at Houston, see that there's innovation, not just in the oil and gas world, which has had a lot of innovation, but in these other areas, turning waste into gasoline. In the medical field, so much innovation's happening now, particularly around nanotechnology. So Houston is exploding, and really, I think, showing the U.S. and the world, the talent that we have here and the skills that we have here.
Well, with all of these successes, what's next? What, as you look ahead at 2013, 2014, what is there to do?
Oh, we want to keep doing more, right? I mean, the whole goal of my office is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, right? We want to have good air quality. I mean, that's one of the major things of Houston, where our air quality's gotten better over the last number of years. We're not the worst city for pollution. We're still in the top 10, but we have definitely improved our numbers. A lot of reasons for that, and we want to continue to do better, right? And so the 2 biggest areas where we have a lot of greenhouse gas emissions comes from buildings, their energy use, right? We have a lot of air conditioning because we're a hot city. Sure. And transportation. People sitting alone in their cars driving on our many freeways. So my focus is really in those 2 areas. The third area is waste. We actually have a significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions coming from our landfills because of methane. Right. So the one bin for all solution is a way to deal with that. And the 2 other areas on transportation, for the first time, I don't think people, I don't think you would have said, oh, Houston's a transportation hub, right? We're not a transportation leader, but like, wow, all of a sudden now we are going to become one. We have 7 miles of rail right now. We're building 3 new rail lines as we speak. We're going to increase that to 39 miles of rail.
Incredible.
Finally, we're going to have, I think, a public transportation system we can really be proud of. That's going to reduce people driving in their cars. We have actually a really amazing electric vehicle program. The city of Houston has 40 electric vehicles in our fleet. We have a fleet share program using those electric vehicles, one of the first in the country. So people, all kinds of employees from all different departments are actually able to drive these electric cars so that they don't seem so scary, right? Because it's a new technology. And we're putting charging stations all throughout the city, particularly with some major partners. NRG has been a huge leader in this area. They're putting Freedom stations all over the city as well, and we've partnered with them. So we want to give people options, right? That they don't just have to drive alone in their car 20 miles to work anymore. They're going to have public transportation. We're going to help them with electric vehicles. We're going to give them options for biking and walking. And so I think slowly we're trying to change the culture of Houston to improve our quality of life, which really, you know, at the end of the day, besides the economy, that's what people care about.
Well, if we can recruit more Houstonians like you, I think the city will continue to be better. Thank you for your work. Thank you for coming by.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here.
And that concludes our discussion with Laura Spanjian. We'll be back with more right after this.
At BKD, we understand the constantly shifting nature of the energy industry. As a national CPA and advisory firm, we serve energy clients from the beginning to the end of the cycle. Our experienced energy advisors serve approximately 300 energy companies in exploration, midstream, downstream, oilfield services, and power production. Plus, we're the largest North American member of the Praxity Global Alliance, which means we can help you wherever you operate. Contact a BKD advisor or visit us online to learn more.
This is the Energy Makers Show, brought to you by NRG, moving clean energy forward. And now, back to the Energy Makers Show.
Welcome back to the Energy Makers Show. Our topic today is the SURGE Accelerator, and I'm joined once again by Sarah Groen, co-founder of SURGE. Sarah, welcome back to the Energy Makers Show.
Thanks, Russ.
You bet. So who did you bring in today?
Today I brought in Wight from Meshify. Welcome, Lewis.
Nice to be here. Thanks, Sarah.
So tell us a little bit about Meshify.
So Meshify is a platform for internet-connected devices. We make it really simple to get a device, internet connectivity, and monitoring. When I say device, I mean like a sensor. We've done temperature sensors, thermostats. We've also done power monitoring, sprinkler systems, mosquito misting systems, any kind of device. We're looking into oil equipment and in the production side. Basically, any equipment or device in the field, whether it's a retrofit or a new device, we can very quickly and easily give you a scalable package to get control and monitor with connectivity to that device.
When you say the field, and you're talking about it has the ability to do this over a great distances?
Yeah, so with our with any kind of device that's connected to the internet, it has to have some kind of portal to that. So we're hardware agnostic, but our code base does extend down to a Linux box at a location. It can be a Raspberry Pi, if anyone's ever heard of that, or off-the-shelf kind of gateways. We've done Zigbee, we've done Ethernet, we've done Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, some near-field communication, stuff like that. Any way to aggregate the data at the location. So
okay, so some of those early things that you mentioned almost sound like they're in the home, the residential home. Is that part of your market space?
Yes. So our first customer is Mist Away Systems. They're a mosquito misting company based here in Houston, and they sell a sprinkler system that mist a fine mist that kills the mosquitoes. So for that market, they're actually putting the Zigbee gateway in the home that plugs into your Ethernet, and then extends the network to the backyard that controls the unit.
But you're here at the SURGE Accelerator because you're also getting into the oil world, right?
Yes. So an exciting industry that we're vetting out strong here in SURGE, and SURGE has been a great help getting contacts in the space, is the production, the land-based production of oil wells that have about 80% of those have no connectivity, with I think a huge benefit to the operators that they were connected. So we're hoping to be able to kind of horizontally play in that industry to connect all the land wells that have connectivity. And this year, most of them are going to be within some kind of cellular connectivity range. So our modules could plug into them and then give the operators control of them and basically be agnostic to what kind of well it is itself. But our software is more unique in that aspect.
So how did you guys come up with this idea?
Great question, Sarah. So me and my business partner, Dane, we started out about 3 years ago in the energy management space for the home. And we built a really good vertical into thermostats with remote temperature sensors and zoning controls for homes. Uptake was somewhat slower than needed for such a small startup, so we actually pivoted into the building energy management space, where we automated about 30 buildings up in New York and New Jersey, writing kind of a custom code package for these larger apartment buildings that it's kind of complicated laws up there, what temperature the building has to be at what time of day and stuff like that. And so as we were dealing with our distributor up there, he kept asking us, well, if we had one more node on the network, we could monitor this tank or this pipe, and he kept trying to build more and more nodes, and we're saying, slow down, we didn't have the capability of adding these on the network easily. At the exact same time, other companies here in Houston and around the country are coming to us saying, you solved a very hard problem to solve. You've got internet connectivity and a platform that scales with that, or at the time it was just a vertical that scales with that, to connect millions of devices. Can you do consulting work, or can you help us do the same thing? And we thought that maybe we might have been missing a bigger opportunity if we could rearrange our code base and our expertise to not be so vertical, but more horizontally focused. So we took about a year off, maybe about 10 months, and kind of redesigned and re-architected from the ground up, kind of just a lot of long whiteboard meetings thinking, how can we architect a solution that can take any device and fast and rapidly, and then do a big deployment of that? What features are necessary for that kind of deployment? How is it going to be ease of installation? People on the ground that are installing these aren't engineers and scientists. They're just regular people that just want to plug it in and have it work. And so we integrated a lot of these features and a lot of our expertise into a solution that's more flexible. And we have multiple clients on our network right now, and we're hoping to land more from Surge.
So how did Surge get on your radar?
About 2 years ago, we were still doing residential energy management, and we came across Kirk and also Brett
Perlman, yeah.
And we set up a meeting with both Kirk and Brett and got together and talked about some strategies in the residential market. And at the same time, Kirk said he was toying with the idea of starting an energy accelerator, which was pretty unique at the time.
Right.
Had never been done. I don't think I've ever heard of someone doing that. And back then the name Surge wasn't around yet, but he said that we need to stay in touch and keep up on this. And as the years went by, we kept in touch with everybody, and our idea evolved to a more scalable idea. And I think Surge saw that, and we applied, and lucky enough to get in.
Okay, so are you connecting with any of the mentors around here in a helpful sort of way?
Definitely, the mentor network's been really, really helpful. Just the kind of So before we came in here, Dane and I are just programmers. We're in the office all day trying to get the product working. We kept thinking, we'll push back like business model until everything's perfect. It's hard to balance both those.
Right.
But here in Surge, it's forced us to focus on that. The mentor network and the people here that have so much industry experience in the business world have given us so much direction and guidance on what does a fundable, scalable business look like, and how can we take this to the next level. So
really cool. That's pretty complimentary, Sarah, I would say. All right. Well, Louis, I really appreciate you sharing your story. I think it's a real cool story, and we wish you good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot. And Sarah, once again, thank you.
Thanks.
You bet. And that wraps up our discussion with Louis Wight of Meshify. And this is The Energy Makers Show, heard on the radio and seen online at TheEnergyMakers.com.